Listen closely. The smartest move you ever made was walking away from games that were never worth your time. Not with anger, not with drama, but with silence. And that silence became the loudest victory of all. Imagine this. While others were rehearsing strategies, sharpening knives of manipulation, and setting traps, you stepped off the battlefield entirely. That choice didn't make you weak. It made their entire scoreboard irrelevant. They fought shadows while you built peace. They bragged about victories while you built a life untouched by their circus. And now they're left bitter, confused, and yes, feeling dumb. This message is for the chosen ones, the ones who have realized their power is not in fighting every battle, but in knowing which battles are beneath them. If you're hearing this and it resonates, type 77 in the comments to mark that you've chosen clarity over chaos. And if this truth speaks to you, support the channel with a super thanks so we can keep building this community. Because walking away is not surrender, it is mastery. At first, they thought your silence was weakness. They thought your disinterest meant you couldn't handle pressure or that you lacked the courage to face them. But the truth, your refusal was the strongest move of all. You didn't just leave their game, you flipped the entire board upside down. Picture a group of players at a chess table, sweating over every move, convinced they are in control. Then you stand up, push the board aside, and walk away. Suddenly, their strategies mean nothing. Their clever traps collapse, and their pride crumbles because without your participation, they were never powerful to begin with. That's what burns them, realizing their control was an illusion, propped up by your willingness to engage. The moment you said, "Not interested," you stripped them of their only weapon, your attention. Remember this, indifference is one of the most underestimated forms of strength. It denies manipulators the fuel they crave. It proves you don't need their approval, their validation, or their stage. You win not by playing harder, but by refusing to play at all. If you've ever felt this shift in your own life, drop a comment and share your story. Your voice will remind someone else they are not alone. Here's the twist they didn't see coming. When you stop playing, they don't stop, they spiral, they obsess. They replay scenarios in their heads, desperate for a reaction that never comes. Imagine them shadowboxing in an empty ring, swinging at the air while the crowd looks on in confusion. That's what your silence did. It turned their obsession into a public spectacle. They thought ignoring you would make you small, but ignoring them made them look ridiculous. Their fixation grows louder every time you stay calm, every time you move on, every time you live your life without them. And the more they obsess, the more exposed they become. Your silence is not emptiness, it's a mirror. It forces them to see how much of their identity was tied to controlling you. And without your energy, their power collapses into nothing but noise. That's why they feel humiliated, because what once looked like strategy now looks like desperation. If this truth hits home, hit the like button right now. Let it be a signal that peace is louder than chaos, and that silence, when chosen with clarity, is one of the most powerful weapons you have. The most powerful victories don't come from shouting, fighting, or proving yourself. They come from standing still in your truth while the lies collapse on their own. Think about it. Every scheme, every manipulation, every whispered half-truth they threw your way became nothing but a spotlight on their own desperation. You didn't have to raise your voice. You didn't have to argue. Your consistency did all the exposing for you. Picture it like this, a mirror held up in broad daylight. Their shadows can't hide, no matter how clever they think they are. Integrity is the kind of light that reveals everything. And your refusal to join the game turned their secrets into confessions, their strategies into proof of their own insecurity. That's why they feel so humiliated, because you didn't have to destroy them. They destroyed themselves in the presence of your authenticity. If you know the power of keeping your integrity intact, comment below with "Truth speaks louder than lies." Let's fill the comments with reminders that honesty always wins. This one stings the most for them. They spent their entire lives chasing trophies, promotions, applause, and validation. Every loud victory was a performance meant to prove they were superior. But then they looked at you, and with nothing to prove, no spotlight to chase, no stage to perform on, you still carried more weight than all of their noise combined. That's the difference. Their victories are loud but fragile. Your peace is quiet but unshakable. Picture it, a crowded arena filled with shouting voices, banners, and fireworks. And then imagine one person sitting calmly, radiating presence without saying a word. Which one carries real authority? Which one makes people lean in? It's the calm one. Because peace cannot be faked, and it cannot be stolen. That's why your presence outshines their trophies. They hate it because it reminds them that all their chasing was never about fulfillment, only about appearances. And appearances collapse when confronted with someone who already has everything that matters inside. If this resonates with you, hit the like button right now. Let it be a reminder to the world that peace will always outweigh performance. Here's the brutal truth. They built their entire lives on optics, on appearances, on how things look. They stacked their cards high, projecting influence, faking stability, chasing validation from anyone who would clap for them. And while they were busy performing, you were building. You were investing in depth, wisdom, resilience, and substance. You chose the slow work of building roots while they decorated hollow walls. And when the storms came, their structures fell, while yours stood firm. That's the difference between optics and reality. Appearances shatter under pressure. Substance grows stronger. Imagine two houses, one made of mirrors, glittering under the sun but fragile as glass. The other made of stone, steady, silent, and immovable. They chose mirrors. You chose stone. And now the reflection has cracked, revealing emptiness behind their facade. You didn't have to expose it. Time did. Integrity did. Reality did. Their optics collapsed because you refused to play along. You showed the world what lasts and what doesn't. If you're someone who believes in building substance, drop a comment with stone over mirrors. Let's make it clear, real strength is unshakable, and no amount of performance can compete with it. Here's the irony. They thought gossip was power. They thought whispering your name in dark corners, spinning stories, and twisting narratives would shrink you. But every word they spoke only revealed their own insecurity. Imagine a group of people huddled in a room, repeating the same bitter lines over and over, trying to convince themselves that you're small. Yet outside that room, your life moves forward untouched, thriving, undeniable. The louder they whisper, the more obvious it becomes that their voices can't reach you. Their gossip doesn't damage you, it damages them. It exposes their obsession, their immaturity, and their failure to move on. And here's what stings. The absence of your presence says more than any rumor ever could. While they're trapped in their echo chambers, you're out there building, living, and elevating. That contrast burns them alive, because deep down they know that every conversation about you is really a confession about them. They can't stop talking about you, but you never need to mention them. That imbalance is power. If you've ever outgrown gossip and felt the freedom of silence, comment "I rise above noise." Let's turn the comment section into proof that silence is stronger than slander. Chosen ones, listen closely. The ultimate victory was never about beating them at their own game. It was about refusing the circus entirely. While they wrestled for attention, you discovered peace. While they schemed for validation, you built substance. While they obsessed over you, you chose freedom. And that freedom is the kind of mastery they can never touch. Picture it like a chaotic carnival filled with flashing lights, loud voices, and endless distractions. Everyone's chasing tickets, desperate for applause, but you walked out. You chose the quiet path of truth, and that decision turned every one of their victories into hollow echoes. That is mastery. Walking away is not weakness. Detachment is not indifference. It is strength, clarity, and power. And now the world sees it. Your enemies see it. and you must see it too. If this message hit your soul, do 3 things right now. Subscribe so you never miss what's coming next. Hit that like button so the algorithm spreads this truth further, and drop 77 in the comments to show the world you refuse the circus. And if you want to go even deeper, support through super thanks, because every action you take here pushes this movement higher. Remember this, real mastery isn't about control over others, it's about control over yourself. And the moment you refuse the circus, you don't just survive, you transcend.